Okay, we finished our division. Now the next thing on our list says applications. Actually, before applications, I just had old keynotes with a lot of other examples. So I'm going to do the other examples first, just in case you need more examples. So let's look at order of operations again. So if we have 1 minus 7 plus minus 3 minus 8 plus 10, just start from left to right. So negative 1 minus 7 is negative 8. Negative 8 plus negative 3 is negative 11. Negative 11 minus 8 is negative 19. And negative 19 and 10 is negative 9. Okay, if we had 2/3 plus 5/9 minus 4/3 minus a negative 1/6. The least common denominator, well, I could say minus a negative 1/6 is positive. Then the least common denominator is 18. So I'd need to multiply 2/3 by 6 over 6 to get 18. I'd need to multiply 5/9 by 2 over 2 to get 18. I'd multiply negative 4/3 by 6 over 6 to get 18 on the bottom. And I'd multiply 1/6 by 3 over 3 to get 18 on the bottom. So I'd have 12/18 plus 10/18 minus 24/18 plus 3/18. And 12 plus 10 minus 24 plus 3 would be 1. So I have 1/18. Okay, next problem. 3 minus 4 plus 5 is on the top. 4 plus negative 2 is on the bottom. I don't have any parentheses except for the silly ones that are around negative 2 so that it doesn't look weird. But I do have grouping. The numerator is grouped and the denominator is grouped. So I'll group everything upstairs. 3 minus 4 plus 5 is 4. And 4 plus negative 2 is 2. Now I do my division. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Okay, some more evaluation examples. If we have, this time x is negative 2, y is negative 4, and z is 6. Remember, when you substitute in, it's safest always to substitute in with parentheses. So my 2 is still there. My z was 6, so I put it in parentheses and put it in. My y was negative 4, I put it in parentheses and put it in. My x is negative 2, I can put it in parentheses if I want to. I didn't because no one else was around it. Okay, on top, the first thing I'll do is that 2 times 6. So I get 12, and minus and negative 4, those negatives cancel because those were just parentheses. 12 plus 4 is grouped in the top, so I do 16 on top, negative 2 on the bottom, and I get negative 8. Okay, substituting in again, and remember when you substitute in, put parentheses around your number. So z is 6 minus a negative 2. I could have parentheses around my 6 if I wanted to. X squared on the bottom, so that negative 2 is squared. That is very important to put that negative inside parentheses. That right there is the whole reason I have you use parentheses when you're substituting numbers in. And minus 6 squared. So on the top, I have 6 plus 2. On the bottom, negative 2 squared is 4. 6 squared is 36. So I have 8 over negative 32, which is negative 1/4. Okay, more translations. 17 more than negative 21. Negative 21 plus 17, which is negative 4. 5 more than the sum of negative 7 and negative 2. 5 more than, I'm adding 5. The sum of negative 7 and negative 2, I'm adding that. So I have negative 9 plus 5, which is negative 4. 18 minus negative 1. Minus doesn't switch anything around. Minus is fine. So 18 minus negative 1 is 18 plus 1, which is 19. Negative 30 subtracted from negative 19. Negative 19 minus a negative 30. Subtracted from is where the order in English is different than the order in math. Simplify that and our negatives cancel, so we get 11. 7 less than negative 3. Now is less than one where the order switches? It is. I have negative 3 minus 7, which is negative 10. The number negative 1/4 minus the quantity. Quantity means put it in parentheses. 6 times negative 1/3. So I have negative 1/4 minus the quantity, big old set of parentheses, 6 times negative 1/3. The inner parentheses are just there so it doesn't look funny. So to multiply those, I have to think of 6 as being 6 over 1. So 6 over 1 times negative 1 over 3 is negative 6 over 3, which is negative 2. So that's negative 1/4 plus 2, which is negative 1/4 plus 8/4, which is 7/4. Go ahead and pause that if you need to look at it for a second. Okay, one thing to note, the translation, the part that it's in red, is very important. Please don't skip the translation. I give you points for it, so that's one reason to not skip it. But the whole reason I make a big deal out of it is it's very important to get that part of it. It's very easy to do easy problems in your head, but if you haven't practiced putting steps in easy problems, you fall apart on hard problems. Okay, here are our applications. During a football game, the Nebraska Cornhuskers lost 2 yards, gained 6 yards, and then lost 5 yards. Write an expression using addition that describes the team's total loss or gain. Evaluate the expression and interpret it. I want you to note that there are 3 parts to this problem. Write the expression, evaluate the expression, and interpret your answer. All 3 of those parts are very important parts, and they're worth 1/3 of the points each. So the expression would be negative 2 plus 6 plus negative 5. Now if you wrote negative 2 plus 6 minus 5, I'm probably going to be okay with it, but technically it said write an expression using addition, so you should just have add signs, not minus signs in there. The minus signs you see here are just negatives on the numbers. They're not minus. So evaluation, easy, easy. It's negative 1. Interpretation, what does it mean? Well, since that one is negative, and I'm talking about football and yards, it means the Cornhuskers lost 1 yard overall. The negative, when I translate it, kind of turns into the word lost because I'm talking about football, and the 1 is 1 yard. Please interpret it in real life terms. Don't say, well, negative 1 is the answer. I mean, interpret what it really means. On the game Jeopardy, Jasper selected the category the last. He got the first 4 questions right, and he missed the last question. Write an expression that determines Jasper's score. Simplify and interpret. So again, our expression is 200 plus 400 plus 600 plus 800 minus 1,000 because he lost that one. Simplified, that would be 2,000 minus 1,000, which is 1,000. What it means that he won because it's positive, $1,000. Okay, the highest mountain in the world is Mount Everest with a height of 8,848 meters. The lowest recorded depth in the ocean is Mariana's Trench at 11,000 meters below sea level. Determine the difference in elevation. Now please don't take 11,000 minus 8,000. Think about what you're doing. Difference. Difference means subtract. You're going to be subtracting something, that's right. You're going to be subtracting the trench from Everest. Elevation of Everest is 8,800. Elevation of the trench is negative 11,000. So we have 8,000-ish minus a negative 11,000. Simplify, that would give me a difference of 19,000. That makes a lot more sense. It wouldn't make sense that they were only 2,000 meters apart. So the interpretation is that the difference in elevation is 19,881 meters. Okay, Henry carried eggs into the farmhouse 6 at a time. The fox stole eggs from the farmhouse 2 at a time. One morning, Henry made 5 trips and the fox made 6 trips. Write an expression for how many eggs were in the farmhouse. Expression, Henry makes 5 trips, 6 eggs each time, so that's 5 times 6. The fox makes 6 trips, but his trips are taking away trips, so he has negative 6 times 2 because he takes 2 eggs each time. Simplified, that's 30 minus 12, which is 18. So there are 18 eggs remaining in the farmhouse. At least 18 more than there used to be anyway. For 3 weeks, Jim pays $2 a week for lottery tickets, and he has 1 winning ticket for $3. Write an expression that describes his net gain or loss. How much money has he won or lost? Okay, pause this and try to do it on your own. You should do that for all of these. All right, now that you're back, now this one can be a little bit tricky. If you wrote 3 times 2 or 2 times 3, that's not right. Pause it and go back and figure out why. Okay, it should be 3 times negative 2. Negative because I'm losing money, or Jim is losing $2 a week. That $2 is a negative amount. The $3 is a positive amount. Simplified as negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. If you wrote 6 minus 3, it's not just a little mistake, that's a big mistake. My interpretation is that Jim lost $3. Lost because the number is negative. Okay, those are my applications. Now I've got a lot of simplifying to do. First thing I want to cover is the distributive property. That is a combination of addition and multiplication.